I'm Chris. This is Heaven, and this is Hanging with the Family. Margie is going to join us a little bit later, possibly. She's doing some wifely duties, and Bob is not here. We're still missing Bob. I don't know where Bob's at, but while we're waiting on Bob, Heaven has some news.
I got a transfer and I'm leaving Fantasyland and I'm going to Dino Land.
So she'll be over in Animal Kingdom now.
Yep. And I don't know. I have a lot of mixed emotions.
Right. So, and you'll be going over just as frontline, right?
Yep, I'll just be a frontline cast member.
So, but
maybe eventually I can become a coordinator there too and a trainer there too. But right now it'll just be an everyday work in the console cast member.
Awesome. Sounds great. So it'll be something different for you. And Animal Kingdom, I mean, really, it might be more slower pace than what Fantasyland is too. So
yeah, that's what I'm expecting. And that's like everyone has said though that like with wanting to move forward and become a full-time coordinator, like that having Fantasyland as my home location that I learned how to coordinate in is really good for me. So I think that's also good in other parts of the park, like as frontline as well, like being able to be in such a busy place and still be a really good cast member. I can also then be a really good cast member in other places.
Right.
They've not told me yet what exactly I'm doing, but I got to see on the training app the other day that it has in that I'm going to be getting trained at Dinosaur. So I think I'll be working at Dinosaur.
Awesome. So would Dinosaur be the only thing, or would there be other stuff you'd rotate between?
It would probably just be Dinosaur to start with, at least from what it looks like. And then if I ever wanted to cross train out in the land, I could.
Okay. All right. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Like I said, the slowdown, I've always said that I think Animal Kingdom is probably one of the most relaxing parks that Disney has. So,
and they're closing at like 8 o'clock at night. So the latest I would ever be out would be like 9.
Right.
And I know like sometimes the parts of the year they close even earlier. But I was gonna say something. Oh, so this is my last week in Fantasyland. This is
wow.
From what I understand, I'll still be able to pick up sometimes. So
are there people that are upset that you're leaving?
Yeah. Some of them are people that I'm friends with, and they've used some not so kind words with me about it.
Oh wow.
Like people that I'm friends. I told someone the other day and he said, F you. And I said, oh, okay.
So
yeah, Katrina, this is a good thing. I chose for this. I put in when I found out that I was allowed to put in to be a full-time coordinator, I put in the transfers for a full-time coordinator, but then I also decided that since I could still have that in for a year, I wanted to try to branch out and learn new things as well. So I put in full-time positions in other locations too.
So our guest has finally showed up. So we have Bob from One Stop Mouse with us.
So hey, so I have my little home studio, but now it's a big L-shaped desk where facing this way is you, and facing around the corner is all this Disney stuff that I just got. And I'm sorry I'm late. I had to make a little conversion here.
That's all right. Heaven had some news. She's actually transferring.
Oh, from where to where?
From Fantasyland to Dino Land.
Oh wow.
So
cool. I would guess you're happy about it. It's a transfer you wanted, right?
You can't make up your mind. Mixed emotions. Like I'm excited because I'm the one who put in for it. I did put in the transfer.
Right.
But I'm also like I've been in Fantasyland. It's crazy because my transfer date into Fantasyland West from Fantasyland East was May 13th, 2018. And my transfer from Fantasyland West to Dino Land is May 9th, 2021. So it's been a full 3 years, and like I'm a little sad. Like I have really strong connection with this area. It's my home, and so I've got a lot of mixed emotions. I'm excited to go and learn new things and learn new ride operations and learn about new parks because I've never worked anywhere outside of the monorail loop. But I'm still sad because Magic Kingdom is where it's my home.
Right.
But also we found out, so like my dad knows this. We had in like me and a couple of my friends had in transfers for Galaxy's Edge. We've had them in since November. And we finally decided like 2 weeks ago, we were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put in transfers for other places. Had we held off another week, we would have gotten a Galaxy's Edge transfer this week.
Oh wow.
They finally pulled people for Galaxy's Edge. But we were like, whatever. Me and my one friend were both going to Dino Land together. And we're super excited about that. So
awesome. So before we get started and get to know a little bit more about Bob, let's go ahead and say hi to people in the chat. We got Katrina. We got the Disney trash can. We got me. Let's see. And that looks like it's it for right now. Hopefully more people start coming in. But as of right now. So, and like I said, Margie will probably be joining us here in just a little bit. But so to start off, Bob.
Yes.
All right. So obviously, hey Keith. Keith just came in. So
BFD, the BDF,
the BDF.
Whatever.
So, but I guess what got you? I mean, obviously, well, you've actually had some news recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I went from being unemployed for a year, basically. It felt like it because several months of furlough and 4 months of layoff made it feel like a year. Same thing, no Disney and lots of honeydew lists. And then all of a sudden I got offered 2 cast member roles at the same time. So that's how busy Disney is. So it's like, sorry. Now make a choice. And and the only reason I think I went I didn't know anybody. It was either going back to something similar to what I did at the reservation center, but what I did exactly had been dissolved. So it was the next closest thing, or to working at the Disney Vacation Club. And I didn't know anybody who worked over there. I knew a lot about it and I was really interested in it. And I had heard people were, everybody wanted to go work there. It was such a great place. Nobody wanted to leave there, all that. And then, of course, I talked to Kelly, our friend from the Mickey Bunch, and she convinced me it would be a good thing to apply for and to try to do, because I still had to fill out application type stuff anyway. Right. They had offered me the job and go through a long interview. And basically, I got offered the job at the reservation center officially, like, come and start your training in 2 days. And Kelly basically went in to the people she knows at the vacation club and said, if you want to give this guy a job, you better get in touch with him now, because he's going to take whatever is solid. He wants to get back into Disney. So so they called me even earlier than a lot of the other people. And I chose the DVC. So awesome. I'm real happy. I'm going on my first end of my first week tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Of training. Yeah. It's very cool. Very cool.
Awesome. So does that take place then? Is it the Disney University? Is it that's what it's called? Then your training, or is that
I don't know if that's open right now.
Oh, that's not open right now?
I don't think it's reopened.
Everything is virtual right now. That they can have be virtual. I mean, there are some things they can't, but in my situation with the Disney Vacation Club, they have anybody who's been on the 4, where I live.
Right.
Anybody who's been on the 4 and that chunk of the 4 south of Disney has seen this big Art Deco building off to the side that says Disney Vacation Club. in Celebration, the town that Disney built. They're actually, I had to go in for one day to get all the computer gear and everything to work at home virtually and train at home. But when I got there, it was weird because they're changing from one building to another building in Celebration. So all the signs of it being Disney were all down. Even the backstage roles at Disney at the reservation center, or whatever, they have portraits of Walt and Walt's paraphernalia all over the place, and and you walked in, it was like this bare office building, and you're thinking, oh no, the magic isn't here. It's like, yeah, because we're moving down the street. But wow, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
So you were with the reservation center before we closed?
I was what they called an itinerary planning agent, which means that I could book anything. I could book tickets, I could book dining, I could book whatever, but my specialty was recreation. So if you wanted to, if you and your organization wanted to rent the Grand One yacht, or you wanted to go on a Wild Africa trek, or you wanted to go on one of those Keys to the Kingdom tours with the VIP tour guides, I would book those tours.
Okay, awesome.
Now with social distancing, they kind of got away from that. I don't know if it's coming back or not. I
sure hope so. I know they started with VIP tour guides again. So I asked because I had a friend who worked in the reservation center.
Did you? At the DRC?
Went to college with, and then we moved down here and did a program together, and then she was in the DRC. Yep.
What does she do? Did you know?
She was doing guest letters.
If I don't know her and she's still there, I've probably seen her. I'm really good with knowing people's faces.
She left she left in the middle of quarantine.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Casey.
Casey.
She's got short blonde hair.
Short blonde. That could be a million.
Yeah.
Disney family members. Oh, that one. We're like this.
All right, okay, Bob. So to start off, I'm sure you probably told this before. What got you started into YouTube? And before you start, hold on a second.
Yes.
We have my wife, Margie.
Hey, Margie.
Hi.
How are you?
This is Bob.
Good, how are you?
What's up? What's going on?
It's been a long day.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, if I'm a little slow, this training has been kicking my what. In order to do this job, you have to know like every department of the reservation center. And I mean, literally, think about it. People who are DVC, vacation club timeshare owners have just spent a wad of money to become real estate owners of Disney. Right. And so the people that deal with them, like what I'm training to do right now, those people need to be able to do everything that any other department would do, because we don't want to send them to some other phone line to wait. Right. You want to make dining reservations? You want to buy more points on your timeshare program? You want to buy tickets? You want to change your most other parts of Disney, that it's segmented. So when I was at the DRC, you would send them to other places, ticket services, guest services, resorts. With what I'm doing now, it's kind of like, yep, you got to do everything. And I'm like, whoa, I'm going to become a Wikipedia encyclopedia of Disney. This is going to be great to do anything after this. So, right. I started doing YouTube. I was in a tense situation up in the North Georgia mountains, running a nonprofit, and basically just throwing my whole life into it. My marriage, every dime I ever made, like a kindergarten teacher right. Buying her own supplies. I was obsessed with doing this thing. And Josh and Jenna are on Resort TV 1. Like, you haven't heard them as being, the inspiration for a million people, but for me too.
Right.
I'd have them on the TV in the back just playing, so I could like turn around and go, oh yeah, I'll be in Epcot soon. This isn't too bad. I can make it. Come on, Bob. And I just came up with a name. One of the things that makes you lose traction with One Stop Mouse is when you start off being called WDW Epic Vacations, right, and then change your name halfway through because you realize people think you're a travel agency.
Right.
And I didn't get that. Actually, Josh said you might want to change your name.
Right.
Because you're chatting with us so much, people think we're being supported by another travel agency, which you're not. And then once you change your name, people got to sort of find you again.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, the guy with the hat. Yeah. What was that? And then, but the other thing too, and Chris, you're doing a great job building your channel, with what you're doing. And
right.
You got to be consistent.
Right.
As any of you creators out there know, it's important. Maybe you can't do it every day like a lot of people want to or whatever. But if you're going to have, a show, like I have a show on Monday and I have a show on Wednesday at a certain time, then make sure you get those out at least in and amongst some other things. My channel has grown very slowly over a little over 2 years' time because I started growing it. And then life got in the way and I dropped it like a rock. Right. And then I picked it up for a month or two when I got here. And then I got a job at Disney and then when I got furloughed and laid off, I had no more crazy Disney cast member family and I needed to replace them. Right. And you guys here were my replacement. So now I have a lot of people in YouTube land that are saying, you better not drop us again. You better not go away. Right. Well, that kind of happened with us, actually. Did it? Yeah, I think we did. How many videos did we do when we first started out? 4. 4. Yeah. And the fourth one, Heaven wasn't with us because she went for her. I don't think I was with you I think I was only there for one. Was it the only first one? Yeah. And then Heaven went for her Disney college program. That's right. And then Margie and I'm were jealous, by the way. I wish I could have went. I wish I was a late bloomer. I didn't get into this till really late. So I wish that I could have gone through the Disney college program. It's a great segue in like staying with the company. Yeah. Yeah, really. I'm sorry, Chris. I interrupted. Go ahead. No, don't worry about it. So the thing is Margie and I, we were working for the same company and they went into overtime. So we were having a hard time getting out because when we started, we really didn't do Disney stuff. We were just doing things, trying to show people the stuff that you can go do in Indiana and Ohio. And we still kind of do that now. But we have Disney stuff in there. So we were down. I think we stopped posting after that fourth video for how long, Margie? Was it? A while. It was, yeah. And then I just decided we were out of overtime. And when we came out of overtime, I just never went back to it. And then I just decided, hey, I'm going to start this back up again. Because what it was our family was just having a great time going out and finding things to do on the weekend. And then COVID happened. And even though we did go like to Disney World and stuff like that, it pushed our channel farther into being a Disney channel because what it was. And then, of course, I met everybody that I met here at YouTube and everything like that. And that's basically how I ended up here. So I've basically kind of split the channel up I do reaction videos, of course, everybody knows that, on Mondays. And then on Thursdays are my adventure videos. So, but every time I go on those adventures, even though it's not about Disney, I try to find something from Disney. And I don't know what you just drank, Bob, but it looked like the color of your background. Oh, was it an invisible?
But yeah, we actually had a break too. Hey, Kadani, Sean, thanks for coming in.
Sean, what's going on? I'm so sorry. So I've been so exhausted after work lately. I was supposed to go meet Sean at homecoming because he's down here.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not driving over there. I know the food is good, but I'm not driving over there.
Oh my gosh, their moonshine is fantastic.
I'm like, I can shift from one side of my desk to another and talk to Chris and then, fall asleep in my easy chair like an old guy, but I am not driving over to Disney Springs. Sorry, Sean. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, so, the thing is obviously, what was it? Am I right? Were you doing like hiking or something like that at one time, Bob? Was that what it was?
It was. Actually, when I first got into YouTube, it's when, on the inception of it, like 2005, I looked back after I'd, done this sort of a few times talking to people. It was end of 2005. They're not up anymore. I took them down, but it was on this channel called Appalachian Wilderness Guys. And it had a lot. It was sort of like a precursor to these wilderness shows like Alone and stuff like that, because I would be out there as like a mountain guide and I'd have a little digital camera on me. And when I came across a hunting dog up on top of a mountain that had gotten into it with a bear and was injured and in shock and hiding under a bush. And I was trying to rescue it and take it down. And I'm in an Appalachian Trail shelter, like a 3-sided shed. And I'm putting him in my sleeping bag and I'm trying to walk around in the snow, trying to keep myself warm. And people are going, what is wrong with him? It's just a dog. I was amazed. I looked back and I was like, wow, a lot of people watch this stuff.
Right.
But that's when and then I dropped doing that because I was busy doing too much of it. And then, like I said, then it got to be too much. Grass is always greener somewhere else. And then I started doing this. So.
Right.
Bob, didn't you say you were on Naked and Afraid or some show like that? I was on Naked and Afraid. That is true.
Were you on Naked and Afraid?
Well, hold on. You won't be able to see me. You could have seen me for a little while, a few years back. But when Naked and Afraid started, when they did their initial first pilot, which I don't know, you might be able to find it somewhere online, but you'd be hard pressed because they've pulled most of them. The very first pilot, but the pre-pilot that nobody gets to see. There were a lot of lawsuits involved in it and everything because they hadn't quite ironed out all the wrinkles yet. And one of the producers got bit by this really poisonous snake and died like 5 minutes after being bit.
Oh my gosh.
And so they aired it once or twice and then it was like on YouTube and then they pulled it for legal type of reasons. So yes, I was. And I will tell you, if it's not dramatic enough, they make it dramatic.
Right.
So, yeah. So, I'm glagging. When I did Naked and Afraid, it wasn't dramatic enough because I was kind of doing survival stuff at the time in my own life. And so the crew was instructed to barbecue just over this ridge where there was a wind blowing just to make me think I was losing my mind. Me and the girl I was with. The woman I was with. Do you smell what I'm smelling? Is that ribs? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And see, now, if I was on that show, I'd be naked and the other person would be afraid. So.
The thing about that show is the insects. That's what really gets you because you don't have any hydrocortisone or anything.
Right.
And the insect bites are because they put you in these warm climes. It's like layers of insect bites. Just imagine having like mosquito bites and then like no-see-um bites on top of those and then like gnat bites on top of those. It's the kind of like geological bites and swells.
Oh wow.
That was just, you wanted to just rip your skin off.
Before I got in the military, I never knew what a chigger was. And then I found out and they love me to death. I'll tell you that much.
Those things. Well, the thing is, the old wives' tale is you get bit by a chigger and you're supposed to get clear nail polish and then apply it. Yep. And you're not really, the bug is actually long gone. You're not suffocating them or anything.
Right.
You're actually shellacking yourself to protect yourself from your own fingernails because you're having a like 72-hour later allergic reaction to their saliva.
Right.
And you're just trying to not, so you don't infect it.
See,
technically, clear nail polish would work with any kind of bite, then,
wouldn't it? Exactly.
I just want to do that.
I actually had a friend tell me that what it is the chiggers have actually dug into you
previously, but they're not there anymore when you're feeling them.
Okay, well, he told me they dig in, they go in head first, and then what they like is to leave their butt up. So when you go to scratch, you're scratching their butt. Is what?
No,
and they love it.
No, there's a lot of.
That's awful.
Yeah.
But I was like, "What is this?" I thought I had an allergic reaction to something. So I could never.
I just get mosquito bites, and I scratch so hard I end up bruising myself. So.
Yeah.
Some people are a lot more attractive to mosquitoes than others, I've noticed.
Right. One of the girls I work with the other day, I posted something on Facebook about a butterfly. And she said, this is a fun fact that you might not want to know, but when a butterfly lands on you, they're actually attracted to the smell of your sweat or your blood. They just can't do anything about it because their mouths are too small. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it.
That's interesting. Besides, chiggers are so small, you need a magnifying glass to see them. The BDF.
Yep. So
wow, that's my old life.
So, were you wearing?
It wasn't me. I never did it. No matter what anyone on YouTube says. Disney Dan actually did get married and divorced. I wasn't making anything up. Everything else, you'll just have to, this guy will say that and that guy will say that. And I've only been married 4 times, not 432 times like Pete McDevitt will tell you.
Pete McDevitt. So here's one question I have that I do not know this.
What?
All right. The fedora and the whole Indiana Jones look, was that part of your YouTube, or is that something you were doing before YouTube, or?
Yeah, I'm a clown that specializes in Indiana Jones. I go from one children's party to another, and I end up whipping myself all the time. So no,
I didn't know if you put it on and thought maybe if I go in for my interview with Disney, they'll put me in the Indiana Jones stunt. I
have been on the show.
Yes, I've heard you tell that story. Yeah,
and I just so happened to. It makes sense. I didn't think of it at the time. I happened to be wearing some Indiana Jones type stuff. And I mean, I guess that's kind of like a easy gag, right? Oh yeah, put this guy on. Did
you have the whip with you?
I didn't have the whip. They don't let you carry the whip around. And that's sort of weird. It's weird because you know, when I went to the Halloween party and I was cosplayed as Indiana Jones, they wouldn't let me bring my whip in, but at Hollywood Studios in another park, they sell bull whips at the souvenir stand. So if you're carrying around their whip. Anyway, the story with the Indiana Jones thing is this hat from Australia that was really the one that Harrison Ford wore, and the shirt and the jacket and all the other stuff that I've got was to cosplay it to get the real thing was a little costly. Okay. So I got it all together because I was obsessed. Went to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and in September, it got to be 100 and something degrees. It was so hot, I was sweating through it. And so I learned that, well, I'm probably not going to be wearing this outside at Walt Disney World ever again. But I was stubborn about it. And I told my wife that I would use it for something. I'd probably use it in studio. I'd wear it when I was doing videos in the air conditioning. And so now it's sort of like a trademark.
Right. So it sort of makes you wonder how Harrison Ford was able to do it in all those different countries where
it's very obvious because I've also worn the leather tri-corner hat that they sell at Pirates with the dreads coming out from under it and the bandana. Try wearing that at Magic Kingdom when it's like 98 degrees and humid as well. You're like Jack Sparrow. It wouldn't matter if he was drinking rum or not. He's staggering around from heat stroke. And there's no way. It looks cool for Harrison Ford to have on a leather jacket and a wool hat in Hawaii doing those shots, but it's like it's not realistic. But they look cool.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it wouldn't be Indiana Jones without the fedora. So nope. But
getting little bits and facts on that new movie every day.
So where did your love for Disney come from then?
Love for Disney started with a little Viewmaster slide thing that had pictures of Disneyland when I was a little boy. Oh, wow. So, that was, well, let's see. I probably would have been looking at those in like the later 60s because I'm 59. And so, yeah, it was probably like 1968 or something like that when I was looking at those. And I was asking my construction worker father in New York, blue collar guy, Daddy, look at the Haunted Mansion. Look, can we go? And he's like, Bobby, we barely make enough to get by. We can't travel out to California and do that. I'm sorry. And so I was a late bloomer with Disney. Didn't get a Disney parks experience until 1982 when Epcot opened, and I was a college student at the University of Miami, driving up with fraternity brothers to see that. Oh, wow. And then I really started getting into it when I was a filmmaker way back when. Then I moved out to Los Angeles, and my house was about 30 minutes away from Disneyland. So,
I got you.
Yeah.
See, we've never been to Disneyland.
I haven't been in a long time. I've never seen a lot of things there. I want to go. We should get a field trip together. What is this? Katrina, Bob, tell the story about Walt Disney being your best friend. Oh, no. Katrina is asking me to tell the story about Walt Disney being my best friend, which is her joke. When my very, very, very first Disney experience was when I was 2 years old in 1964. I was at the New York World's Fair.
Oh, wow.
On It's a Small World. Oh, and wow. It made it into the local Queens, New York newspaper where that was being held, that apparently some 2-year-old little boy had shut down the ride for like an hour because he had dove out of the boat and was swimming around in the canals and climbing up on the banks trying to make friends with all these little boys and girls from all over the world. And Walt thought that it was hysterical that his, small world message and little doll children were so appealing to a local boy who was me. So that's what she means. So Walt knew who it was when I was 2.
Wow.
Oh, man.
But
what happens today, Heaven, if that happens?
We each ride, and then the family probably gets kicked out.
I would be what? I'd be a news report. They'd have me right away on WDW News. It's like man arrested and banned for life.
But no, being down there,
imagining myself in front of a console, just ready to smack and eat stuff.
Bob,
Strange
down
man.
there, it wouldn't be Strange Man, it'd be Florida Man.
That's true. Florida Man dressed as Indiana Jones, dragged out of It's a Small World, banned for life.
I don't know. I mean, being a 2-year-old, I mean, I guess they would kick you out because it'd be up to the family to say, they'd be like.
I mean, they might not. It might still be, but it would probably be there is literally instructional audio that says, please watch your children.
Well, just imagine that. Just imagine that. I kind of was the precursor to a lot of of that Disney procedure.
You were a precursor to that kid jumping in the gorilla thing. That's it.
You know, they say there wouldn't be a warning to not shower with or blow dry your hair in the shower if someone hadn't done it.
Someone hadn't done it.
There would not be instructional audio that states to watch your children if you hadn't jumped in the flume. It's a small one.
So whenever you hear those announcements of keeping your hands, feet, and legs, whatever, inside the boat, you'll know.
Well, that also comes from the guy that got his foot chopped off at ET,
Maybe.
but you know.
No.
Over there at Kings Island on the Beast, it says, "Please do not stand
maybe
up."
You could say at the end of your
What? on the roller coaster, and it's like,
well,
you know, when I was
she could at the end of her.
I don't say that.
Don't
That's
like
the
Bob.
instructional audio. That part's pre-recorded.
I'm cutting out
my
really
God.
bad. I'm gonna.
All right, honey. You're gonna back out?
I'm gonna have to leave and try to come back.
Okay.
Oh, she's breaking up.
All right.
So,
Bye.
all right, Bob. So, you've been doing YouTube for how long? Couple of years?
I think it's like 2 years now.
2 years.
It was 2018. So it's about a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, so
Two
what
and a
has
half.
been your best experience in that time?
With the
What-
YouTube?
being YouTube.
When we had the furloughs
Right.
from the Walt Disney cast, which was I guess a year ago,
Right.
May of 2020.
Yeah.
When the bottom dropped out, I had decided to come down here and get a job with Disney. I was working for barely a year, so I left them. I left one dream, I abandoned that dream to come here and pursue a new dream, and then the plague hits. I'm like, oh, this is great. It's a sci-fi movie. Whoever would figure on this, right? But then all of a sudden, and you hear this story so many times, when you start to realize one stop mouse, right?
Right.
That was me initially saying, I mean, it's pretty evident. And it says it in the intro video still, this old intro video for my channel. This is like a one-stop place. You can come here for everything. We'll give you news. We'll give you instructional videos. We'll give you... There was no like sense of a community. I thought I was just like a little filmmaker who was going to plunk out this stuff. And
Right.
But then when this sense of community and the people that you meet and just doing I told you when we did the interview together, when you start doing these interviews and meeting people like yourself, that was a whole other thing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I mean, literally, it was like a soft drink commercial or something. It's like all of a sudden you have a whole bunch of friends that it's like, where did they all come from?
Right.
You know, or some like a show, you know, where. So I went from feeling like the bottom dropped out. I had no friends. I had moved away from my friends. I was secluded in the house, and all of a sudden I had a lot of friends. It was a big deal, for way more than subscribers or anything else. You know, I'll be the first one, just like anyone else, to want to get more subscribers and stuff. But literally, I swear, if even after my channel finally gets monetized, so I could try to not lose money, you know, doing this kind of thing, I wouldn't care if I just turned off that feature for a year or two. That's not the thing. That's not you know, that's not what's in it for me. Bobby just nailed it right on. Also, don't be so humble about your channel. You have an amazing thing going for you, two real geeks. Thank you so much. I don't know, whatever. No, it is. It's true. Everybody goes on and on and on about this. Oh God,
well,
everybody's so friendly. I love them. They're so cuddly. They really are.
I'll be honest. I mean, when we started out, I actually, you know, I seen like Adam the Woo. I seen the Tim Tracker. I'm like, this stuff looks easy. I'm like, I'm gonna try it.
That too.
Yeah, and then it hit me. You got to really work at this.
No, it is.
It's like everything else. You just got to work at it. But the thing is I like doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, you said you can turn it off for you or me. It's like, if you want to pay me,
Well, it's just it really does become.
Yeah, I mean,
as the channel grows,
right?
That's when it becomes sort of like, you know, how much money can you? And I've been there, and I'm dumb enough to do this because I did at the nonprofit that I had before I came down here and started doing this. I lost every bit of considerable savings I had. I lost my health and I lost my wife because I can get so consumed by something. So this is a lesson to be learned. I might say what I just said, but if I keep going down the YouTube road, I don't think I should be that laser focused. I think I should really try to get support for the channel in as many ways as I can. And I think anybody that's doing that is only being smart.
Oh yeah.
Bob, Chris, and Heaven, I drew Tinkerbell and she came out in 3D.
Were you aiming for her to be 3D, or did you somehow get lucky with that?
Somebody's saying hi.
Hello.
The Childress Adventures.
Childress Adventures.
From the Great Smoky
Thanks
Mountains.
for joining us. So, and then
I miss the Smoky Mountains. How are they?
Smoky.
Yeah. Childress Adventures is awesome. Are you with Dollywood?
I've never been to Dollywood. Always wanted to go.
I was supposed to be on here last night, but I made plans and I said, hey, I have to be home by 8:30. And my one friend said, oh, y'all are children. Why do you have to be home at 8:30? And the other friend said, I think Heaven works in the morning. And I said, no, I just have a live stream to do with my dad, man. And they said, oh, that's like a second job. And I said, oh, not to me, but like my dad, he puts a lot of work into this. Like, it's true. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like what I was stating, if I could get to the point where I could start getting paid, and actually get to the point where I start making money, where this would be my job, it wouldn't even be a job.
No,
because
that's the saying, right? Yeah. If you find a job that you really love, you never work a day in your life.
Right. So
I mean, I think we get pretty close with Disney. Sometimes I get irritated, but there have been a lot of days lately where I've been like, they pay me to be It's a Small World all day long. Like, that's it. That's what they pay me to do.
Well, but there's this thing that I just kind of grasped it fully today, I think. And what it is Disney guests have never been put in the kind of position with the pandemic that they've ever been put in, not with any park in the world, not with Disneyland, Disney World, anywhere. They're so used to going on lots of vacations and being totally on top of it and having Disney being able to work out their problems. The way that they were kind of painted into a corner and a box, and Disney doing the best that they could despite pandemic, rules and stuff. They've never had to deal with it like that before. Mm-hmm. And so you ever have a supposed easy decision to make that becomes more complicated than you thought it was going to be, and the whole thing just gets really frustrating?
Right.
That's how a lot of what a bunch of Disney guests have had to go through with their whole life, not just Disney. And so it's been our job to try to listen to them and hear them out and help them and keep it magical. And so, I mean, it's been more of a challenge than ever, but still the greatest job working for Disney. Oh God, I'm so thankful.
Right.
Back in the club.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, good for you, Childress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think one of the things is, I don't know. At one time, Margie and I was talking about sometime moving down there and working for Walt Disney. And anymore, I think I'd want to be down there and just be an annual pass holder who goes to Disney and,
at this point, I'm going to have to buy a pass in order to go to Disney.
So, yeah.
Well, that's interesting, Heaven, because of course my wife works for Disney too. And with all the blockouts and how busy it's going to be for the rest of the year, and with do you not have an annual pass?
No.
Okay, so exactly what we had a platinum annual pass, right? that we had bought when we were still out of state, and it kept going through. And then we're both cast members here, and we looked at each other. We're like,
why are we doing this?
We're sure not going to put that kind of money out again when we can get into the parks for free, or even any of the cheaper ones. And then we waited a few days and we said, you know what, let's just get the weekday ones for now. And that day when we went to get the annual passes, they said, no, we're not going to sell anymore. It's like,
you know what though? We just had this conversation on a live stream a while back. How the people who chose Disney Plus over their park passes, they chose right last year because there was a pandemic. And it turns out we all got fooled again because we chose our park passes. And you were blocked out for months.
Well, Disney's trying to do everything they can.
Right.
Yeah, I just heard rumors that it's going to be for much longer. And I have comp tickets. I could use my comp tickets, but I don't want to. I want to save those for when my family's here.
Yeah.
Well, they're giving out other perks to cast members to try to make up for, which you probably know about.
Stay that we get.
Yeah, you said it. I didn't say it.
It's been announced. They know what it is.
Okay, good. I'm trying to be. So cast members are getting a stay at some resort. They don't tell you what resort, but they just. So my wife.
We found out our resort this week.
I don't know mine yet because I asked on my wife got one already, and that's at. Is it at? I think it's at no. Where is it? Coronado Springs.
That's where I got.
Hers. And then I put in a provision that because it's going to cost money to put up my dogs. So I was like, I said, okay, well, I'll tell them I have dogs and see what happens. And they haven't gotten back to me yet. But so then obviously it has to be a place where you could have dogs, like one of the Fort Wilderness cabins, or
I think Art is allowing like dogs still, right?
Who's that?
Art of Animation.
Yes, they are too. And that'll be fine.
That's so we tried to do before we really knew how they were going to pick where you were staying. We decided, we were going to choose. There's 3 of us, and we were like, well, we're just going to choose. One of us choose this date, the next date, the next date.
Right.
That way we just stay in a hotel for 3 days. And that was before we knew how they were going to do it. And then they sent us our stuff, and we were like, well, this is going to be interesting. We're going to move from hotel to hotel. But actually, we were going to go Art of Animation, Coronado Springs, Art of Animation.
Wow.
So if you guys don't mind, I want to bring up some little bit of news. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Is it true that Florida has never had White Castle? I mean, here recently. Oh, yeah.
That's what I've heard. This is the first one.
Yes.
They have not had a White Castle here since like 1970, right before Walt Disney World opened.
Like, this is big news. Everyone
is really. So people are fanatic about it. I'm a fanatic from the Northeast who love them. And now you might as well say it. The largest White Castle
the largest
in the world is opening a couple of miles away from Walt Disney.
Katrina says tomorrow.
And I think the one thing that I read that made me laugh was
I know what you're gonna say.
I'm thinking of White Castle, right? And they said they're gonna have an open air. I'm like,
right.
With White Castle, you might want an open air area.
Did you hear about the limits they're gonna place on it?
No, I didn't.
They're not going to let you order more than 30 sliders. So you better watch it.
So what I was told, though, is that the reason that Crystals is like Florida's White Castle.
Oh, really?
They're not really the same.
So that's because I remember when I was first down here, that's what they were like, we're going to Crystals. And I was like, what's Crystals? And they're like, you ever heard of White Castle? And I was like, yeah.
Okay. Have you gone to Krispy Kreme where they have the donuts that are hot when that red light is on?
I've not.
The glazed donut?
I know what you're talking about.
Have you been there, Chris?
I always get my Krispy Kremes from Speedway.
Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, I get my Krispy Kremes from Speedway. I'm sorry. For you guys down south at Racetrack, I get my Krispy Kremes at Racetrack.
I've had a Krispy Kreme, just not from Krispy Kreme when it's hot.
So Krispy Kreme hot donuts, which are like they're like some incredible heavenly creation.
Right.
Compare that to like a Dunkin' Donut, kind of like a plain old but it's just like any other glazed donut.
Right.
And that's, to me, that's like the difference between New York pizza and other pizzas, or White Castle and Crystals.
Okay.
That's
I
what
went
I
to
think.
school in Terre Haute where you got square donuts. So
Those
even
are
though
delicious.
they taste the same, square donuts are amazing.
So
I don't know. I've bought a box of glazed Krispy Kreme, and I don't know what it is about Krispy Kreme. I don't. The way I'm about to say it, it's like crack. All right.
I was gonna say that, and then I'm like, heavenly creature.
All right. So, then every time you get a glazed donut after that, it's like, this is nowhere close. And I was down at my mom's, and she's
this
like,
is like your idea about the fireworks. Every time you see a Disney fireworks, you go see something else. You're like,
yeah. But I mean, the thing is I was down at my mom's. She's like, you want a donut? And I grabbed it and I bit into it. And I'm like, it's not as good as Krispy Kreme. She goes, no, because it came from Kroger.
I was being told that anyone who got their vaccine could get a free Krispy Kreme from Krispy Kreme.
And you could go in. You could go in with your card that shows that you got the vaccine every day and get another
as many
free
times
donut.
as you want. And I was like, man, I'm about to start hitting up the Krispy Kreme.
Oh wow! So White Castle is back in Florida, correct? White Castle is back in Florida. Is this this is the only place as of right now?
Yes,
from what I understand.
And it's the largest location in the world.
And it's like next door to Walt Disney World.
Very close.
Right.
Yeah.
Where is it at?
Hold on, let me look.
That's not. I'm gonna let you guys say first, because if it's.
I think it's.
I'm looking at it. Hold on. Florida's getting its first White Castle after 50 years of not having the delicious burger joint, and the dining location is making quite the splash in Orlando, being in the O-Town complex next to Portillo's.
Oh, okay. Portillo's.
Yeah. Is that Portillo's? Is that what it is?
When they got Portillo's, everyone from the Chicago area was like, ah!
Right. Yeah.
So, but Voodoo Donuts, I've seen videos on Voodoo Donuts, Danny, that they look good. Have either one of you had Voodoo Donuts over there at Universal?
I have.
Every time I've gone, the line's been really long.
So
my wife went there with some relatives recently and basically bought back, like, she waited on a long line and then brought back like one of every type of donut they have, just so I could taste test it. Yeah,
sounds like heaven at Gideon's.
Yeah.
No, I haven't even tried all of their normal ones yet.
Okay.
But I was gonna say, someone told me that one of the higher ups on Gideon's left Apple to go to Gideon's.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is an up and coming company. I left Apple to go to Gideon's. Hope he's getting paid well. Jeez. Yeah, I was an Apple executive, but those cookies were unbelievable.
This guy in charge, these cookies will have Wi-Fi here pretty soon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I finally had a chance to taste Gideon's. I've been, for some reason, over the last few weeks, I've been to Raglan Road a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
And Gideon's that line for Gideon's goes right in front of the door for Raglan Road. So
it doesn't go through Raglan Road?
No, you just you sit there, especially the first time I was sitting outside because it was the only seating they had. And you literally see when the line and then the virtual line is getting smaller. And you're like, hey, how long is the line? And I left my party sitting there outside with the live Irish music and jumped onto the line and then came back with cookies. So
we went over like 2 weeks ago. We were there. 3 weeks ago we were there, and we went and we asked if we could be put on a virtual queue, and they said, "Oh no, we're not doing a virtual queue yet." And I said, "Oh, okay." And my friend said, "Well, do you want to get in line now and then go get lunch?" And I said, "Oh no, we'll go get lunch and come back." And we came back and they said, "There's a 2-hour virtual queue." And I said, "Okay." Should have got my cookie before lunch.
The lines for that place are amazing.
Well, I think what was it when they first opened? When they first opened, weren't they saying they were a 15-hour wait for virtual queue?
Probably.
Yeah.
They were the longest virtual queue in all the parks.
Yeah. There was people going to the park and then coming back and getting their cookie at the end of the day.
Let's go on Rise of the Resistance while we wait for the cookie queue to come down.
It was probably the only thing down there that's had a longer wait than Rise of Resistance.
It's the cookie line.
Yeah.
It's also amazing to see how many places in Disney Springs are hiring again. Yeah, that's true.
So
they just posted. Someone said that we have part-time positions open too.
Oh wow!
If anybody's looking for a job, they're always hiring over at Earl of Sandwich. I worked over there for a while, on sort of in an in-between thing between cast member jobs. That's what they call a third-party participant. But the good thing about that is, even if you're making sandwiches, you're still being able to be as magical as you can,
right?
And you still get park passes. So even if you're making, not too much money and you're making sandwiches like you might have at a Subway in Chicago or something like that, you get the park passes.
Oh wow!
So and the perks of discounts and stuff. So
yes, and you get to make the most amazing BLTs they have.
Oh, those Earl of Sandwich sandwiches. Yeah. If you don't know those sandwiches, oh man, I would invent my own sandwiches. I would kind of combine them. And I have some great inventions. It's a good place.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time I ever ate at one was in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah. So another thing we have is what is the absolute best shoes to wear to Walt Disney World?
Tennis shoes.
Huh? Tennis shoes. Well,
okay. So what I would tell you is, as a former hiking guide,
right,
and in the Smokies, which is a temperate rainforest and very, very wet, it is very much so, except for a few months a year, like the drier months of spring and fall. Many times a year with the afternoon downpours and the humidity, it's like hiking in a rainforest. This is not Mediterranean like out in Anaheim.
Right.
So I literally wear these little double, when you're a hiker, they have these socks that are kind of double layered, but not very thick.
Right.
And the two layers rub against each other and dissipate the friction between your foot and the shoe. Right. And then I wear hiking shoes, which are not like boots. They look kind of like tennis shoes. They're just a little bit more aerodynamic. And that's what I wore. They wick moisture off of your foot through the sock to the outside, so they dry quicker as well. You do not want to go on an 8-day trip and have your feet all messed up as you're dragging your kids around after the first day and a half, because they won't be good.
No, Katrina.
I see a lot of people.
Flip-flops are the worst thing to wear.
Yeah, don't do it. I see a lot of people wear, and it was shocking. People will put their kids in water shoes and just make them walk. And I'm like, all right, I guess. Yeah, go for it.
Some people can do that, but I would tell you, and used to tell this to my backpacking clients, unless you grew up on the beach, which means you walk around and have your feet sanded all the time and they're real tough, or you're a real country folk where you walk around outside in your bare feet all the time, I would not go.
I did that growing up.
I would not go with water sandals or something like that, because I don't think you're going to be one of those 1% that's going to do well.
I did. I mean, like I walked around town growing up with barefoot, but I still like wearing my flip-flops. I get blisters. So and that, like I said, walking around town barefoot.
So basically the little thing I was reading, they were talking about a shoe brand, and what was funny was the shoe they showed was the type of shoe when I got into the Postal Service, was told that I need to switch to. But the shoe they say is good for you to wear is the shoe I went from. And the one they're saying that's really good is Skechers. And the Skechers, when I wore the Skechers, whenever I was delivering mail, my legs and back would hurt. And then I switched to New Balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I don't have those leg and back pains anymore. And I couldn't
believe balanced.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I couldn't believe, how well those shoes really work. And I would suggest that, but of course I would go with like a light tennis shoe, not something like what I wear to
for people that hike the entire Appalachian Trail in like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And the Appalachian Trail is 2,100 miles long and they got like 40 pounds on their back. There's a brand of hiking shoes that isn't really expensive. They're called Altra, Altra. You could look them up. I know like sporting good outlets like Dick's and REI have them.
Right.
That's what I was basically talking about. And I actually have a funny video I put on my channel like a year back,
right,
where I'm talking about hydrating and I'm pouring water over my head and I'm showing the type of socks and stuff like that. If you go to One Stop Mouse and you look up Walt Disney World weather, it's a goofy video, but it speaks to that. Because when I first got here after being a hiking guide, I would see people like literally as I'm shooting this video, Chris, I saw 4 people fall down at Epcot as I'm trying to vlog from heat exhaustion, and they're pulling them out on stretchers. And I'm like, I couldn't do commentary like in front of this real stuff. But I was like, I swear earlier today, you wouldn't believe it.
Every summer, man.
So that's basically about it. We're basically done. So before we go, Bob, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Do you want to tell us what you got going on? What's coming up on your channel over there at One Stop Mouse?
Yeah. Well, let's see. The basic right now, my whole schedule has been kind of thrown to the wind. I haven't done anything this week at all. Postponed everything because I'm going through the big Disney cast member change. But I'm sure I'll figure out my schedule for next week. On Monday night at 9:00, I usually do, it's called Disney-ish, so it could be anything. It could be an update of my stuff. It could be news. It could be Star Wars. It could be anything. Right. I could be talking to Chris. Who knows what it is? And that's at 9:00 p.m. on Monday nights. And then on Wednesday nights at 9, my little interview show, Mouse Tales, goes on. And I just, I try to find out, guys like Chris, I meet them on YouTube and I never get a chance to really talk.
Right.
Well, I think when Chris was on that show with me, it's like we had seen each other on chats. I had been on his Star Wars watch party things and everything, right. But I was like, oh yeah, by the way, I've never actually asked you this. So I really like that. And then eventually, if Heaven and I can actually get into the parks at any time soon, I'll start streaming from the parks again. But
awesome.
Maybe one day.
Well, if you see me in there streaming, it's probably because I bought some tickets.
I've heard that they have been lifting them last minute on rainy days.
Really?
That's what I've heard. I've not seen it myself, but that's what I've heard.
Well, let's cross our fingers. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So for us, I dropped a video today. It was Haley and I went to Muncie to the Bob Ross experience.
Oh, nice.
So we actually went over there, and I did not know that Bob Ross back in the 80s and 90s actually recorded The Joy of Painting in Muncie. So it was pretty neat to learn all kinds of stuff about him and see what kind of stuff he was into, because he's actually from Florida, but he would come up for a week to record there at Muncie at the Oakhurst house, where the Ball family used to live. And the Ball family are the family that started the glass company that makes the Ball mason jars. And, it was just really neat to find out all kinds of stuff about Bob Ross. And before that, I found stuff out about Bob Ross that he did 20 years in the Air Force and he was retired as a master sergeant. So, and before he retired, he had been that bad. You had to be the bad guy, you know, yelling at the people. And when he retired, he said he would no longer yell like that anymore. So that's why you get that calm voiced Bob Ross. Yes. But it's a really good video. Go check it out. It didn't turn out the best way. So there's something wrong with my mic on my phone. So I'm going to have to start using my external mic all the time now. But
usually the other way around.
Yeah. But so if the volume keeps going in, it only does that when I have it turned on me. But if it's, you know, me recording out, you can hear everything fine. So, so that's the only thing I was a little upset about the video, because I was really hoping to have a good. And another thing, it was so crowded in there, I was afraid to talk up too loud because I didn't want to affect everybody else's.
Because you're polite. That's why. Good for you.
So, but go check that out. Tonight, I'm on Gonzo's channel where we'll be doing Throwback Thursday, and the movie that we were supposed to watch was The Ugly Dachshund to do trivia for. So that's I think it's at 10:30. I hope so, because I have a whole movie and trivia questions right yet. So once again, Bob, thanks for being on. I completely appreciate it.
Sure.
And of course, Heaven, thank you always for being on here whenever you're able to.
I try.
But
I will not be here next Wednesday. I have a 6th day.
Right. I didn't even see you come in, Kay. Hey, Kay, thanks for coming in. And Jonathan Chong. Hey, Jonathan. So, I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming in. Thank you all for supporting me. Anybody new coming in, you know, think about subscribing to me, Bob. You know, it's free. It doesn't cost you a penny. And
contemplate.
But thank you all. I completely, you know, I don't know what I would do without you guys for my channel. But other than that, I think we're going to have to end it here because I'm starting to run out of things to say. So once again, I'll see you tonight on Gonzo's channel on Throwback Thursday, and we'll see you later. Bye.
All right, cool. Bye, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Bye.